Hello, operators. Are you ready? Hey, I'm Brad. Good to have you in the stream. Okay. Hello, operators. Midnight Operator, episode 5. I'm Tobias. I'm your host. Not claiming to be used to this yet, but this is fun. Welcome to the stream. We're broadcasting live from the Teenage Engineering office. Lockdown time. We have some people joined in already. Thank you for being here with me, with your fellow operators. Let's see. As moderator today, we have Albin from support, or he's filling in for support. So you're all taken care of. So we got Kevin Allen, Search Radius, Ty Freeman, Brad the designer. Talk to you later. Jason Waves, Alexis, Christopher Bolt, Alan Weaver, Ian, William Gunning. Hello, William. Talk to you later also. Kevin Hansen, Small Operations. Hello all. Luke Choice. Early enough to catch you this time. Yeah, it's midnight in Melbourne, I think, this time. We're sending for our showcasting from broadcasting from Sweden. It's 4 p.m. here. I believe it's midnight in Melbourne. We have daylight savings time in Sweden, so we shift around a bit, but this stream will be up so you can watch it later. Soul Lift, you made it. Luke Choice, Yati Durant, hey, E-Chains, hi, RK, welcome you guys. North of Germany, oh, we have more people. There's a glitch in the matrix, Jason. Ooh. Can't keep up. William is here, that's good. Subsocko, hejsan. Kul att ses här. Hello David from London. Esther, yo. Miranda, hey Miranda. Big love, Esther. Hi from France. I don't know how to pronounce it. Eklenif. Luke Choice. E-Chains. Hello from Thailand. That's nice. Yo from Paris. Hello from Berlin. Jared McBride. Goo. Patrick Yarnfelt. Copenhagen. Not that far. Hope to visit soon. Hello from Poland. Message retracted. Ben, you're moderating yourself. That's good. Awesome. Okay, wow, we got a lot of people today. I think we pushed this stream a bit also. Really nice to see you all. Brooklyn in the house, Fidelity. That's nice. Awesome. Welcome, guys. This is Midnight Operator, episode 5. I think hopefully it gets better by each episode, but I'm just learning, and I managed to do some macros today, so I don't have to. I can do like this, just by pushing a button. I'm impressed by myself. Yep, Phoenix, Arizona. That's cool. Okay, so this episode we will cover. We will talk about OPC video packs. right now you're listening to some music from the OPC. Let's see what kind of angles we have. So we have the top one here, and I'm running the default video pack called Decotora using motion here. And then I'm using a scene here, I think, on the 9. There we go. So we're going to be talking about the video aspect of the OPC. And I have a few guests that I want to call over Skype. And we have some nice content to share with you. Tonight at 11, welcome back. Alan Weaver, welcome. Arkansas. Emil, tack så mycket. Let's see if everything's good here. I'm in the Midnight Operator Slack channel if somebody wants to reach me internally. Hey, I just got a new email. So if you want to contribute to this show, you can send us and me an email at midnightoperator@teenage.engineering. We are that advanced. Hello from Miami, Wilmer, Serbil. Hi from Netherlands. Good beats, Panos. Thank you. It's I know Soullift. Tony Grisse has some sweet packs out. Yeah, we're gonna look at those actually. The beat here is just one pattern on my OPC. I think this could be some good background music. Okay, so welcome again. We seem to be a lot of people seem to be having okay audio, and image should be fine. So I'm gonna try to get our first guest in, and I need to find the right computer. Hello there, good sir.
Hello.
Seems to be coming in fine here. Let me. I have some fancy noise canceling stuff that I can apply to your channel or it's your voice. Let me show you guys. So on the computer right now, I have this gentleman. I'll bring him outside for a while, and then I'll bring this up. Audio hijack, and Brad, if you just remain silent, I'm gonna listen to your noise. Get a noise profile. There we go. And now we should be good with any noise. So, oops. Oh. There we go. There we go. Okay, you're in the big frame now.
Okay.
Welcome, Brad.
Hello.
How are you this morning for you?
Yeah, it is morning. Mm-hmm. It's a good morning, you know.
So, Chad, say a big welcome to Brad, the designer, is your Skype handle. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick and tell the stream about yourself a bit?
Yeah, I am a designer. I guess, you know, I chose my handle a long time ago, but I've been doing graphic design for about 20 years now. And, that's kind of how I got into the video pack thing, so I've been doing branding and 2D design, print design, all of that kind of stuff. And have always been interested in the visual aspect of music. I got into design, it's like, uh, you know, things with album art and video packs and stuff like that. But I'm in Texas, by the way.
And it's, what is it, 10 o'clock in Texas right now, or what was it?
It's 9.
9 even. Okay.
Yeah,
Bright and early.
9 o'clock.
And how are you holding up these days here?
It's pretty good. My schedule hasn't changed a lot. We still have pretty, we're encouraged to stay at home or go to work with a, locked office. And my son is actually in the office with me today doing kind of school and watching YouTube. And so, but for me, things have not changed a whole lot. My design work has stayed steady. And, I feel for the people that have been more impacted by everything.
Yes. Yeah, I'm struggling personally, but I'm coping. Good to hear you seem to be doing well.
Yeah.
So I had the chance to connect with you over Skype yesterday, and that was our first time talking.
Yeah.
In person. We've been emailing last summer, I think. I reached out to the OPC video pack group, or sorry,
Yeah.
video lab group.
Video lab.
We were doing a kind of a installation at this festival in Sweden, and I wanted some visual tools to go with that.
Yeah.
And I remember I got some packs from you at that point.
Yeah. I saw some great, y'all videoed some stuff from that installation, and you had it projected like on the ceiling. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was a festival called Lidelsen in outside of Stockholm here, and it was really a cool thing. We've been doing that for at least some other occasions as well, but that was my first time participating, and we had two projectors projecting visuals from the OPC on the roof, and we were playing on the table. We can post a link to that video later.
Yeah, it was great.
Fun experience. So since then, you've been quite busy.
Yes. And I have a full-time job. I work for myself doing graphic design stuff, but I spend a lot of hours on the video lab and making video packs.
Yes.
As a really as a creative endeavor, a hobby, a creative, and then have been trying to kind of get more people and artists, involved in that, kind of trying to bridge the gap, the learning gap on that thing.
Yes. Right now I have your Instagram up here. And then your main outlet is synthpacks.com, right?
Yes. And my Instagram is not curated at all. It is everything. You get video packs and rolls being baked on the barbecue pit because the power went out, all kinds of stuff.
I see you have some excellent content here. Highly recommend this channel. No, thank you for sharing this.
Yeah.
So over here at synthpacks.com, this is your work, all of your work?
Yes. And so, I have been collaborating with some visual artists. So some of this represents their work, but it's kind of like reformatted for, video packs. And kind of I had started making video packs, and it took a long time to make one. and I was trying to think, how could I make something that was a little bit a quicker development time and something that was maybe a standard. And so I've always been interested in like GIF loops because it almost seems like, samples. It
Yes.
seems like video.
Say that again. Say that again, Brad. It broke up a bit. So say that again, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the GIF loops seem like samples to me, like audio samples, but for video.
Yeah.
And so I thought, why don't I make something that is kind of a conversion from artists that are doing loops, that are doing VJ work, and kind of bring that in and have a standard format or something. And so I made this GIF looper project that is free on synthpaks.com. You can download it.
It's the one I have open, right? Is the correct one?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, and there is some pretty lengthy instructions there, but Michael McIntyre just did a video walkthrough of it. He's one of the artists, and he was the first artist that took the loop, took the instructions, kind of like made his stuff in After Effects, exported everything, and then just handed off a video pack for me to put on the site. And so it's doable. And I was hoping that people would also, just make their own packs for personal, use. And so anyway, he did a video walkthrough, which kind of helps. I'm not as great with video, and so I was really thankful that he did that. But that's also how I've been contacting artists that I find on Instagram and stuff about contributing, and I'm starting to get some traction. We've got probably maybe 5 artists that are either have packs or are working on packs right now. So it's really cool.
And I know you sent me a list. Is there someone you want to highlight specifically?
Oh yeah, let's see.
You have the list as well, right? And you were able to. I'm not sure if you're able to post comments. I'm not sure if I added that, but if you can post comments and links,
yes,
then the moderators could approve, I guess. But otherwise, I'll just grab from the document.
Yeah, that's great. So Naomi Oliver from Australia, she was the first artist to collaborate and put a pack together. It's the Spectral Corruption pack, and she does all of this really neat, video glitchy type work. She was saying in her bio, she talks about, somehow taking Word documents and generating, video glitch from, the code of those things, So she does this really neat stuff. But we have a new artist that I'm about to release a pack for, and I think her name is pronounced Valeria Vicente.
Okay, cool.
And she's from Mexico, and I'll post her name here. And
that's not up. That's not up yet on the site, right? Or is it?
No, it's not up yet. No, but she's got some really, really great. There's her Instagram. Let's see.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it.
But she does quite a bit of, video glitch work, but with very analog sources, like flowers and fish and stuff. But then it gets all glitchy, and it's really, really cool stuff. A lot of data mosh kind of things, and so I'm excited about getting these artists in the game here. There's a couple more
Have you met these people in person also?
I have not.
No.
I just connected with Instagram, and it's great that they got back with me, because it's just, some random guy sending a message on Instagram and trying to explain what video packs are.
Yes. Well, yeah, it can be a bit tricky for anybody, and you seem to be well acquainted with this. How was it for you? Starting making your own packs. How long uh, until you became a master?
Oh, now I wouldn't say I'm a master, obviously, but it took me. I was kind of preparing for making these packs. I knew that I had seen the OPZ was coming out, and I knew it had this functionality, and I didn't know anything about 3D. So I took a little course online that was called 3D for Designers by Devon Co. And it was a great just introduction in Cinema 4D, and kind of geared for designers, kind of the way that designers think. And then from there, I started doing, once the OPZ came out and I actually got one, I started doing a few tutorials and looking at some of those videos. I think it was
I just
the
posted
96.
exactly. I just posted the link to the 96 tutorial. Is it his channel or is it? Let's see. It's one of the first videos that I saw. Really
Yeah.
thorough walkthrough of. I myself I did like a hello world jumping box thing, but
Yeah.
that was as far as I've gotten so far. But
And
yeah.
so it took me about a year to, I guess I've been doing it for about a year. I think it took me several months to kind of ramp up enough to get something out that was, fairly stable. But yeah, and there's a lot of, there is some great stuff on YouTube right now still. I had sent you some other links, Milo or Milo
Yep.
Smith.
I'm gonna repost that with 96 name, and then Milo here.
And then the Facebook group has
Yes.
been amazing. Matt Craver helped me like quite a bit. Carlos, I think, Lorena, and Tony, which I think you're going to go through maybe some of his stuff. And that group has been fantastic.
Yes, really helpful. And I mean, there are. I usually say there's so many angles to the OPC, and so each angle has their own communities, and then some of them merge, some of them stay like within their section, I guess. But everyone is so friendly, and I think that's something we love with
Yeah.
our operators. And actually, I got some packs from you, and I'm gonna try to upload them to my iPad here, and we could try them out.
Yeah.
Let's see. So a lot of stuff. Let's see what we have here. Here we have the OPC Video Lab group on Facebook, and I reached out here, or somebody, David Lowe, shared this link to the episode, and started talking about Tony's work here. And he did some work for Bolt. I saw you in the stream Bolt, and he did some work for Ricky here. And let's see if we can get that in in my unit. So I'm gonna, let's see if we just go here now. And also, we had some comments about this stream. People have been wanting to talk about Unity tutorials and video packs. So I got some content here from you. and I recognize some of it since a year ago from the Lidelsen festival, and then I got some stuff from Tony here, and I put them in a folder called videopaks. So I've dragged all the different packs into this folder, and then I need to, because I'm on Mac OS and I'm on Catalina, so then I need to connect to my let's see, take the iPad, so I lose the streaming from the iPad, but do like this, and then we go in here, and then back to the computer, which has and I saw your something that I wanted to that really caught my attention was your mute group video pack.
Oh yeah,
that you posted. Can you talk a bit about that while I'm doing this thing?
Yeah. So I've heard a lot of talk about people wanting to be able to record mute groups, and I myself I don't perform, but I have also kind of like felt the urge to want to record mute group changes. And so just seeing all the components in the Video Lab, kind of clack components and stuff, I thought, well, maybe we can route the audio or route the MIDI out in the back end to trigger the right things. And I got it working. And I'm just really tweaking the UI right now. It seems to work fine.
Right. I'm going to see if yeah, there we go. Play this. So let me see what happens if I bring this up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here are the different mute groups, and those are being sequenced over on the motion track, right?
Yes. Yeah, you record it on the motion track, so you'll have to have the video pack loaded to do it.
Is it your music?
No, well, I mean, I did a cover of The Cure.
Yeah, sure, but it's your cover.
Yeah.
Sweet. Oh, that really caught my attention because it's kind of it's a meta pack.
Yeah.
And it's more a control pack than anything. So what does that offer to the operators that wasn't really possible before?
Yeah, I mean, it lets people be able to control mute groups. It's kind of like if you kind of made, I don't know what the correct term is, but if you made the pattern or the track longer, you can really use it to kind of have that going while you're doing other things. So
yeah, exactly. It's the usual.
So you don't have to worry about mute group switching
right,
while you're doing other stuff.
So you can extend to like 16 bars and then make arrangement on that same pattern. So make a full song and combine that with the master track, of course. So you have all the control in one pattern.
Yes, yeah. And I think that there's some interesting things with those mute groups also, in that you can mute or unmute, effects, like you said, master tracks and stuff. And so you can get creative with the possibilities whenever you're using those mute groups. It's not only about muting a track that you hear per se. It's other tracks too.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm ready to. I found my tablet here, my iPad, connected it. I went into the files tab, and then I have my video packs folder, and I'm going to drag that to the OPZ folder, and it should. I tried this before the stream here, and it worked, but it took a while for this to update. But not sure if I'm doing it exactly. No, let's see.
That's good.
Mm, mm, mm.
And
There we go.
that's the
So
way that I see
all the
it.
content here is 202 megabyte, and then I
Yeah.
press sync. Sorry, you were saying?
I was saying that sometimes people have trouble having the video pack show up, and this is the best way that I've seen to have everything separate video packs folder that you don't change. You put new stuff in, and then and then drag it over. Another thing that
It
I've
broke up a
noticed
bit, so
is that
start over from
yeah,
this is the
sorry.
best I've seen the process.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. So having your separate video pack folder, I think, is important, that you put your new video packs in, and then dragging the whole folder.
Yeah, because for some reason we can't open this and see what's inside, so we have to do that locally. Okay, so I'll what's it called? Eject this. Boom, and then I should be able to switch again. So let's see. So I disconnect the computer connection, and then I want the charging and the HDMI out, so we can get in the stream, and then connect here. And I saw the crash before, so I'll do like this. And my unit is on, so I'll just start the OPZ app and sync it. Press scan, shows up here. There we go. And yeah, we still have music playing. And so if I hold screen, I can navigate through the menu here, and I go to motion, and let's see. So right now, since I'm using the output over HDMI, it doesn't show up, but on the iPad screen, this is what shows. So here I have the regular decotora, and then I can switch to the OPZ land. That's fine, perfect. But then the new thing, let's see, is over here. If I click the name here, I can choose different packs, and usually you only have these two as factory video packs. But look at this now, all these different packs here. Oh, I'm gonna have some fun. So which one should we try from you?
Try that Adam and Eve 2. Okay. It's the very first. So it's the very first one.
Clicked it again, and then I wish it could be visible here as well, but I have to switch to the iPad screen. Oh, nice. Okay, I'll turn up the music a bit. So what do we got going?
Okay, so this is something that I haven't released yet, but I'm excited about. Oh. And every note that's played is generating a geometric shape in a defined area. Right. And so, and then it's randomly doing that. It's also randomly triggering and stacking different effects on top of those. And so what I really like, and one thing that I really am interested in with the Z is the relationship, direct relationship between notes and visuals. Yes. And so that's one thing that I'm really excited about.
Yeah. Maybe I'll actually pull this so we can see. No, I don't know. Because I wanted to have both this and this, but we're getting there, stream. But so if I press play here with the beat we had already, I didn't do anything, and the motion track is all empty. So it's just generating stuff from the content that I already have programmed. You just saw me load this. So I'll go back to here, and then this is what I get. And what does the dials do anything?
So the dials, the dials may change a few things, but really the only thing that you can change so far on this pack, because it's not released, is the geometric objects. And so I think play from that bottom F up to that the D changes the different objects, and then if you hold down the E, then you can change color, and you can change that color with the green knob on top. So I haven't.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
Down all of that yet.
I heard you from change
So,
I heard you from change color with the green knob, and that seemed to work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's this pack called? Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Adam and Eve, and it's not released yet, but I'm getting close to doing it. I can sit and just watch this for hours whenever I'm like playing music. And that's one thing that's really inspiring to me about the OPZ is the kind of like ability to randomize things within certain parameters.
Yeah.
So that is just really inspiring to me and kind of organic. And that's the kind of stuff teenage engineering makes. It's just so fun.
Well, I'm gonna go through this, and we'll be sure to announce here when you publish this pack. When do you think it will be?
It could be within the next week or so.
Oh, okay, very good. Just let us check out one more. Look at one more.
Okay, let's see. Why don't you pull up the Spectral Corruption? This is a good example of a GIF based on the GIF looper, and this is Naomi's art.
Okay, so I highlighted it and I press it again here. There we go, and then okay, so I'm at the black infinite space here.
Yes.
And
then
press play or play the keyboard.
Press play, and then press any of the bottom gray keys will start to trigger a GIF.
Okay, let's do it.
Loop.
Ooh.
And then all of the top black keys will trigger different effects, and you can do them at the same time, or and then
wow. What do you think, Chad?
One thing that's really fun for me is the 9 and the 0 keys on the very right. If you record those and hold both of those down, it randomly triggers loops and randomly triggers effects. So you can really just record those and get surprised by what's happening on this.
Really nice. Now we're stuck with a hand snapping finger, and that's something that's I think is really cool. This is an animated GIF basically, right?
Yes.
And a selection of GIFs.
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to do something similar, could they use your GIF looper as a starting point?
Oh yeah, definitely. And a starting point is really good way to phrase that, because you can build on that and just see how things are linked up together. But this contains like the template project has like 14 spaces for GIFs, so it's the bottom gray keys.
Yes.
And so it's a little bit it's a little bit geeky to get them into the pack.
Welcome to Midnight Operator.
Yeah.
This is where we go deep in geek. Thank you so much, Brad. This is awesome. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
No, of course.
So, awesome.
So you were saying I picked up geek.
I just thanks for having me on. This is
no, but you were saying is it kind of tricky to load your own stuff, or no? What was that?
Oh, okay. So here's the way that I explain the GIF looper. If you are if you understand kind of like the Adobe suite of products, you can probably do it pretty easily.
Right.
If you don't, I'm using Photoshop's Lightbox, what would a contact sheet tool? It's got an automated contact sheet tool. I'm using that to make the exact sprite sheets that you need to import into the GIF looper. And so once you have your frames, or something like that, and the Unity part isn't very.
Go back again to after the sprite sheet.
Okay, sorry.
No worries. Okay.
So once you get the sprite sheets made, if you can get the sprite sheets made in the way that they're defined, getting the pack built in Unity is very easy because you're just replacing the sprite sheets that were there before. And so Unity opens up and it has the new sprite sheets. So you select a couple of things and export the video pack, and you're good.
Yeah. And how much did you say this cost, this GIF looper?
Oh, that's free.
Okay.
You can download that for free.
That's very generous of you.
Yeah, it's really fun that I can help others to like get going on the packs.
Yeah. It's if you guys use this, make sure to give Brad some credit. I have a question.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to rotate the images with the dials, for instance?
Oh yeah, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Like right now there's some mirroring effects on I think number 2 and number 3.
Yeah, and those are toggle. Oh, sorry, those are not toggles, but they are. I have to hold them for them to be active.
Yes.
Intermittent. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The effects are like that, but yeah, once the cool thing about the GIF looper is it's something that you can kind of build on. It's kind of like it would be very easy to build in something where you rotate the images or anything like that. So
this was Spectral Corruption.
Yeah.
And who did you say this was for?
So this one, all of the art comes from Naomi Oliver from Australia. She, this is all of her art.
It's probably 1 o'clock her time now, so she might be asleep. But thank you so much for letting us try this out.
Yes, thanks for showing it.
And I saw somebody in the chat when I was going crazy with the thing here. This is my mind right now, and I can relate. Yeah. Are you? Is this something you? Is the GIF looper ready from your end, or will you keep developing your stuff, or how do you think about updates?
I keep developing it. Now I have the version, I have that first version on the site for free. Sometimes whenever I make a new pack with an artist, or if I'm getting public domain kind of video and stuff, I may tweak the pack a little bit, maybe tweak an effect or slow some stuff down. The new art that I got from Valeria is a little bit slower, and so I'm working on her pack, kind of like halving, making the speed half of what it was. And so I'll use it to, tweak some things based upon the loops.
Right. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll stay in touch, and if not in the stream, we'll see each other in the Video Lab group, and
yes,
I'm so excited to see what people can come up with using your stuff as foundation, and then building onto that maybe.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much again for having me on. This has been amazing.
Well, for me too. I'm learning so much, and it's great to explore this little dream machine, as we call it sometimes. Um, and I think right now, when people have some time to spare, maybe this could be a good thing, because it takes time to do this. So,
Yeah.
but having a starting point like this is should be really helpful, I think.
Yeah, I hope people using it.
So I wish you a really good day, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Okay.
Take care of yourself and take care of your
Hey, you
family.
too. Thanks.
Be well.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
It's great to talk to you.
You too.
And I'll be in touch, looking for more teenage engineering stuff coming down the pipe.
Yeah, we will not disappoint. I think there's always stuff coming, even though right now it's crazy for everybody. But it kind of suits us.
Yeah.
We will do what we will do, and yeah, the future is bright. I think so.
Great.
Okay, have
Well,
a
thanks
good
a
one,
lot.
man. Thank you so much.
Okay, you too.
Bye bye. How about that, guys? I hope you've been enjoying this. I sure was. So that was some video packs from Brad here, and also I've loaded some other stuff, like the stuff that I got from Tony here from the group. Let's see if we can try that as well. Yeah, nice guy, right? Well, Preston, I'm just trying to be a link to communicate or to connect people. So it's I'm just as curious about what I could do with this, but I'm looking forward to see more video packs coming out. So what else? Let's check the Bolt one. We've all seen it. Maybe I've seen it. So Bolt, are you still in the stream? Let's see. There we go. So I can pretend to be a super artist by. Oh, where do we go? There we go. That's funny. So it's reacting to my music. I haven't programmed anything. It's just the pack here. Let's see what else we can get. This is called computation. I believe this is from Brad as well. It has this animated GIFs, and I think that's really interesting to get kind of a more video look into Video Lab. Funny. Yeah, David, are you getting inspired? Are you, funky junk. If you take a clock signal from Pocket Operator and pass it through OPC, maybe you answered somebody. Cool. I love how you connect between each other. So that's cool. Okay, so there was one thing that I wanted to show from Tony here. Tony Grisey. He made, this is called the Crystal Sun video pack. And Tony, he's a user of or a contributor to the OPC video lab group on Facebook. And he was so kind to give us all let's see if I can find his site here. Yep, I'll go back. So this is Tony. He's been doing some interesting stuff here. Let's see what this is. This biker guy that really caught my attention. I think it's out today actually. somebody in the stream mentioned as well. And Tony was kind enough to share that with us, or at least give us a discount, rather. So he shared it with me to be able to show you guys. Let's see if I can get it back. And if you go to this URL, let's see if I can post that. Have you watched this for a while? I'll post the link here. Let me give it to you in a second. There we go. So if you want some other starting points, here is a collection of video packs from Tony Grisey over at Gumroad. And this has the all-seeing eye, this little fella, and this is the Crystal Sun. So if you go to the Crystal Sun link, you'll get a discount for this pack. And I believe he is offering free updates as well. So yeah, and David, of course, Keiro Takahashi, can't forget to mention him. I haven't met him in person, but he is the man. He has some really interesting content over at his channel here. So it's keiro.tokyo, and then from there he links to his Vimeo channel, for instance. And he was the one who was very heavily involved in the development of Video Lab and Unity integration. Boom, boom. I think Albin from moderator Albin needs to go, but we are joined by Thomas from support instead, so everything's all good. So here's Keiro son working his Video Lab stuff. So yeah, check that out for inspiration. Okay, next guest, I think. Let's see. Yeah. So how can you all get started? What's needed if you want to make your own video packs? Today we're not going to go super deep, but I did mention that this is part one of a two-part series. So let me call up our next guest here, Mr. William Gunning here. Let's see. Oh, that was quick.
Hello.
Hello, William.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm gonna go to the computer, and I think the sound is good, but we could do this noise washing. So I'll go here. I'm using Brusfri from Klevgrand, and I'm listening to your noise now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do it again. So be silent. There we go. Now you're completely silent. Thank you so much. So hello, William. Welcome to Midnight Operator.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Do you mind introducing yourself and telling the stream about you and what you do?
Yeah, sure thing. So I have been working with Teenage down here in London, and kind of 2 years ago-ish, I started getting involved with events. I started doing some Video Lab stuff. You know, getting to be more involved with the community of teenage engineering. And so I've been helping out with Simon.
Yes. So Simon is our colleague based in London. And when was the first time you met him? Was it the We Are Robots, or where was it?
Yeah. So I think it was 2017, maybe 2018. We Are Robots.
Mm.
I kind
And
of
what was
messaged
that?
him.
That's a kind of a store takeover, or no? Explain.
Yes, it was a kind of 3-day event in Shoreditch, and essentially we played a series of different gigs and sort of tutorial sessions for people. And so I messaged Simon a few days before the event, asking, "Is it okay if I join in, help out?" He was really enthusiastic, so I came along, helped out there, and then after that we kind of started getting a bit more involved in things. I helped out at the Tom Dixon store a few times, and he kind of encouraged me to have a look at Unity and Video Lab,
Yes.
which I was interested in to begin with, but I hadn't quite considered it. And so I downloaded Unity, completely, like, never even touched 3D software before, and just taught myself how to use it. And so I think the first thing I created was these kind of like crappy 3D assets that I'd found on the internet, that I just kind of like animated together and added some really rudimentary effects to. And ever since, I've just been kind of building on that.
How did you? What tools did you use, or like what was your first inspiration, or how did you learn the first basic steps? What was
Yeah,
your?
so I was kind of looking around at the GitHub,
Yep.
mainly, and trying to figure out what all of the terms meant.
Yeah.
So on the GitHub, there's a few different pages about certain things, but it doesn't go into detail for a lot of it. So it was kind of a lot of research, trying to figure out what, Booleans were, all of the different float parameters, and figuring out essentially what everything means.
So you basically spent some time doing this.
Yeah, it was serious crunch time over the weekends.
Yeah.
Um,
And so why I wanted to talk to you was it was actually you who suggested it again. Thank you for that.
Yeah, sure.
You can tell about your idea.
Yeah, so I saw that there was no tutorials or anything on the internet. I mean, there's a few by a couple of people. I think it was 96 did a good tutorial initially. And yeah, I just wanted to do some sort of live stream or something to show people how to use Unity and Video Lab, because I think so many people have ideas and cool concepts, but they just don't know how to do it. And I think they just need like a kick in the butt to get them going.
So this is the kick in the butt, right?
This is the kick in the butt.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what are we going to be doing for this remainder of the stream here?
So I think today we're going to be downloading Unity and just getting people set up, understanding what each kind of component of Unity does, where to download it from, how Video Lab kind of gets into Unity, how you use that, and yeah, just kind of maybe we can start to put some stuff in. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. So that sounds like a great plan, I think. So guys, feel free to follow along, but also know that this will be up as a regular video after this live stream. But so what's the first step, William, if we want to go about this?
So you're going to want to look up Unity, download, archive. And so what we're searching for here is, if you go to Unity, they have a series of different download links, but we're just looking for the previous version of Unity. So 2018 is the current supported version. And if we look on the GitHub, so if I get that up here.
I posted the link to
GitHub.
the Unity download archive here. So this is where you can follow.
If we have a look at the GitHub, you can see the wiki page.
Let's see if I can.
Tells us.
Hold on, I'm gonna
Sure
readjust your screen here a bit. It should be fine.
So you can see in the compatibility section in exporting for OPZ, it tells us the current versions of Unity that are compatible. And so we're on app 1.2, which supports both 2018.4 and 2018.2. But for now, the one that I recommend using at least is 2018.2, because I found that it's slightly more stable. Even though certain things might be harder to integrate, it works fairly well for what it needs to do. So we're just going to go to Unity, select Unity 2018.x, scroll down until we find 2018.2. And the one that I'm using is 2018.2.20. So if you just go to Downloads, I'm on Mac, click on that, and then Unity Installer. It'll bring you to their little download page.
Okay,
and
so
you should get...
so you go to Unity. You can follow the link that I posted in the comment, but we are also, or in the chat, but we're also doing it in the comments. And you get exactly which version was it again?
So that's 2018.2.20.
Okay, perfect.
Is the one that I've downloaded.
And this may change, so we'll try to update the link if you're watching this at the later date. But currently, this is the recommended one.
Yeah. So that's just here, 14th of December 2018.
Perfect.
And so once you download it, it should pop up this little download assistant file. If you just double click on Unity Download Assistant, it'll open up a little DMG and it'll say Unity is already running on this computer. That's for me, because it's running on mine. But it'll bring you through this prompt of different things. So let's see what I can do on my end to show you guys. Install anyway for now. So it'll bring up this little page, and you just want to go through, make sure you've agreed to whatever contracts they're getting you to agree, and then select Unity 2018.2, Android build support, so that's to bring your video packs to Android, iOS build support to bring it to iOS, and Mac support for Macs. And then you can just go continue, and then it'll prompt you for a password. You type that in, and then you can install it. And so that should take about going from 5 minutes to 20 minutes, depending on your Wi-Fi speeds, and how much you actually download. So if you just get the Unity, just the Unity editor, that'll probably take about 2 minutes. But the extra build support takes a lot more space. So that's how to download Unity. And now we're going to go into downloading the video packs and Video Lab. So if you go to the GitHub link that Toby has provided in the comments.
I'll post that. Hold on. So right now we downloaded and installed Unity. And then why do we need to go to Video Lab?
So essentially in Unity, it's just the place where you build the scenes. Video Lab provides you with the patching environment for creating stuff, as well as all of the effects, these nodes that you can see in the corner here, and a whole series of other tools that should help you to create your own video packs, as well as the export tool, obviously. So once you're on the GitHub, if you press this button here, Releases, it'll bring you to the Downloads page, and you just want to go for the latest release, so Videolab 1.1.1, and then click on this, the Unity package, and it'll just download that there, right into your Downloads folder.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Then how do we get it set up within Unity?
Yeah, so I'm just going to open up Unity, and there's two different pages that might come up for you when you install Unity, depending on how that download link works. You're either going to get something that looks like this, or you'll get the Unity Hub, which looks like this. And both of them essentially do the same thing, but they're just different ways of displaying it. And essentially, this is Unity's, the specific version of Unity's launcher kind of file creator. And this is the overall, if you have multiple different installs of Unity, so here I've got 4, this is where you can access all of those projects. So we're just going to create a new project. In Unity Hub, it's this new button, and then you select the version that you want. And then obviously in the other one, you just hit new here, and it'll prompt you. And you just want to create what is essentially from a 3D template. So I'll show you on both versions because it's probably easier to understand that way.
We have Tony Grisse in the stream here, just waking up. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us, Tony. Maybe you saw that we enjoyed the Crystal, what was it, Crystal Sun? Yeah, Crystal Sun pack. And William, Tony says, just waking up, this Unity 101 class makes me happy. So,
glad to hear it.
Yep.
So essentially what you're going to want to select is 3D as your template. So you'll see that there's all of these other extra, it's built up pre-created scenes, essentially. They're templates, but they're to get you started in that kind of type of world. So we're just going to concern ourselves with 3D for the moment, but you can also do 2D. And the same goes here. You can just select 3D and then name it. So I'm just going to say Teenage Engineering Demo. Yeah, 1, I'll say. And then hit create. And so it's going to build the project for you. So loading in all of the various things that Unity needs to get going.
What are you drinking, William?
Just some water. Yeah.
What was that?
Keep the mouth. Just some water. Keeping the mouth hydrated. Yeah. You know.
So I'll be the British one. I have some nice tea that I'm
got the
enjoying.
good tea there. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So my Unity has finished setting itself up.
So what are we looking at now? This is.
So this is what's called the editor. And it won't look like this for you initially. So initially, when you first start up Unity, it will look like this. And this is great if you're just getting started because it's got everything where it sort of needs to be. But I find that with Unity and with VideoLab, you want to be kind of seeing as much as possible in one screen. So the way that I like to arrange it is to have the game and the scene windows separate, so kind of split in the middle. Have the kind of project down on the bottom. We can close the console actually, but I'll just put it down here. And then hierarchy on the side. And then just like that, you've got something that's slightly more workable where you can see what's happening in your video pack, what the camera's seeing, all of your project assets.
So how did you get from the beginning to that? You drag the handles or the tabs?
So you just drag and drop these little tabs onto wherever you want them to be. So this is the one that I find works best.
Is there a way to share a template?
Not that I know of, but maybe.
Yeah. If there is, we can share a template for this. But yeah. So this is your default layout that you have
I work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I just find that I like to get a view of everything that's happening. And usually what I'll have is, my hierarchy here, the inspector, and we'll get into what all of these things do. But essentially, it just gives me a nice overview of everything as I'm working on a project.
Yeah. So what have we been doing? We went to Unity and downloaded the right version. We installed it. We went to the VideoLab page, the GitHub, and downloaded that and imported it into Unity. And now you rearranged or you configured your workspace. I don't know what the right term is, but your workspace into something that is a good start for creating your first work.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really important, is to feel comfortable with where everything is on the screen. And we'll get into what everything does in a moment, obviously. But just so that it's kind of not overwhelming, because I think the default one's quite messy.
Yeah.
And so what we can do is actually, once you've got it into an arrangement that you like, save the layout up here. And I've saved mine as VideoLab. So I can just click there and it'll load up. And so, now we can see that we've got the hierarchy, the scene, the game, the inspector, the project animation and animator. And so essentially the hierarchy is where all of our assets, so in this case, we've currently got in a new project just a main camera and a directional light. And so this is where all of your 3D assets that are actually in the game world will sit. So
I think I'm gonna hold you for a while and then bring the chat back in here. So guys, are you following along? William is a speedy person here, but I think he's doing a great job of explaining the basics. Voidlock says, I really needed this. What do you guys think? Can you follow? This will be, of course, we will write down the steps to do all this. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask William. He's a master here, so I'm happy to have you on.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
I think so. Now we have the workspace set up. How much do you want to show us for this first basic installation?
So I think I'm just going to show kind of how to put in assets.
What's an asset?
Lab into. So assets are 3D files.
I'll be the dumb one, chat. I'll ask all the questions. What is an asset? Yeah, thanks.
They're essentially pre-generated files. So be that 3D assets, so 3D files, objects, scripts, effects, you name it.
And can you import external assets, or can you only create assets within Unity itself?
Yeah, so in Unity, you can do both, essentially. You can import and you can create. From standard, Unity doesn't have its own kind of creator engine, and I tend to use Blender for that because I think it's got a really nice viewer and really nice tools to do that with. But yeah, you can import pretty much every type of asset. And if it doesn't support it just yet, there's a whole load of different what are called packages that you can add to Unity that allow you to add those in. So just Google it. Google, if you've got a specific file format that you want to get in, Google it, and then in Unity, and someone out there will be wanting to do the same thing as you.
We have a suggestion here from Bolt. A video lab guide in the same format as the online manuals would be amazing. And I'm thinking that is something we could really put together. Good idea. I mean, we need it, and right now I think it's a good time. There's always development, of course, but this is something that we want to promote and help you guys out with. Let's see. We also had a question from Something Prost. Where can we find William?
So I've got a couple of Instagram profiles that you can follow me at. So these two right here, @WeWine and @WilliamGunningOfficial. This one's more of an artist account, so whenever I release music and that sort of stuff, it's all up on there. Whereas this is kind of my more personal one, where I post, teenage engineering stuff, 3D Unity type stuff. Whenever I'm creating stuff, it's usually up on that one. So feel free to follow me on there.
And I know that you're active in the OPC Video Lab group as well, right? On Facebook.
So yeah, whenever people have questions that I know how to answer, I'll drop a comment. So I'm William Gunning on Facebook if anyone wants to add me there.
Very good. Okay, so let's see. I learned how to easily upload video packs. Yeah, I mean, just doing that is a game changer, Raphael. Oh yeah, thank you for having the question. By the way, Raphael, you were one of the ones who requested some video pack tutorials. Okay, so William, back to you. I'll let you do the final little startup here.
So essentially, we've got this hierarchy where we've got all of our different objects, scripts. They all lie in this hierarchy. And you'll see here that it says sample scene. So when you start up a project in Unity, it will provide you with a what's called a sample scene, where it's got this main camera and directional light. And so we can go ahead and create a new scene if we wanted to. I typically don't.
Hold on. How do we do that? Create new scene. So we go file. That's regular
That's
Mac
file.
OS stuff, right?
Yeah.
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 And on Windows, have you used Unity on Windows as well?
I haven't tried it yet, but I presume pretty much the same controls,
Yeah.
except with Control instead of Command should work.
Right.
So you can either hit Command N or Control N, I'd imagine, and then just create a new scene. And so we're not going to save this because we don't really need to use the sample scene. And it'll just create a new scene for us. And it's called Untitled at the moment, but we can name this. So if you hit save, it'll give you a little pop-up that you can name it with. So I'll just say example. And then it'll name it up there. And you can see here that it'll arrive in this project section. And it may look slightly different to you, but depending on how you want to view it, there's various different ways of showing that with these little viewers.
Yeah. Is it easy to screw up here? How easy is it to get lost and?
In Unity, getting lost is quite easy,
Yeah.
but actually, once you start to understand what everything does, I think it becomes a lot more logical. And having someone tell you what it is, I think helps a lot with me. I basically didn't watch any tutorials and just tried to figure it out myself,
Right.
which I don't think helped. But
So I think doing this tutorial here, getting people to download and get started, you will get a week to experiment yourself, and then maybe next stream you have some more questions and we can address that as well. So this is a two-part stream. But
so this is really more of a setup and an explanation of what Unity is. And then next week we're going to really dive into things and create something, and maybe I can show them what we're going to create this week. So show them next week's kind of plan, tease it a bit maybe.
Yeah,
what
sure.
do you think? Yeah.
Did you want to create something here first or no?
Yeah, so I can just show them kind of maybe patching something really simple.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment we've just got Unity as it is, no video lab, no additional assets added in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to right click here and we're going to hit create and then folder. And so I'm just going to get you guys to properly format your projects, because this is really important to not get it too messed up, essentially. You don't want to get confused by what's happening in your project. It's quite easy to kind of have loads of things happening at once and have no idea where anything is. So folders are really useful for that. And we're just going to name that Video Lab Assets. Then hit enter. And then you'll see that we've now got a little folder that says that. Now, you'll remember that we downloaded this little Unity package earlier. So if I open up Chrome, you can see here, videolab.unity package. And we're just going to either drag and drop it from your downloads folder into Unity, into this little project area. And then it'll decompress and do all of this stuff. And you'll get this pop-up window with all of these different assets and scripts. And you're just going to make sure that they're all selected and then hit import. And then that will bring them all into your Unity project.
So this is basically giving the operator the controls and the ins and outs of the OPC within Unity.
Yeah, so essentially it's all of the things that you need to get MIDI devices, OPZs to control Unity, as well as a whole bunch of effects, some 3D assets. So just kind of the basics that you need to get going, creating stuff musically in Unity. So now what we're going to do is, now that we've got them all imported, we're going to select everything except for scenes and Video Lab Assets, and we're just going to drag them into the Video Lab Assets folder we created. And so now it's kind of more nicely arranged than it was before. So we can just collapse that if we don't want to see it. And so you can do that one of two ways. You can either drag and drop it, or if you want to be more technical about it, right click, import package, custom package, and then select it from your Finder. And so that works just as well.
Perfect. So this is the, now you're essentially have everything you need to get started, right? Yeah.
So this is you done technically with everything you need to add into the project. Obviously, if you want your own third-party stuff, you can add that as well in now or whenever you're going through the project. But for the time being, this is everything we really need to do. And so now when we right click, you'll see that we've got these additional components added
Right.
to our creation.
So you
box,
right
I wanna
click in
say.
this area and you get that
Yeah.
this menu.
You get this menu right here. And so you'll see that there's clack, kvant, and MIDI jack. I don't know if I just completely
No,
messed up
that's very
the
Scandinavian. That's super good.
But what we can do here is essentially load in the essential stuff for creating a video pack. And so clack is the node system that's used in Unity for Video Lab. And so we can just highlight that and then click patch, and that'll import this little what's the word? Script. There we go. This script for us that we can use the patcher with. And so you'll see that when you click on it, it opens up the inspector, and you can see Open Patcher. So if you click that, it'll open up this window, which is our patcher.
There we
so
go.
It's currently floating about, not really doing anything, but I'm going to dock it down to the bottom here so that we can kind of see it as well as everything else in our project and scale that.
Okay, so you have a tab for the projects, animation, animator, and patcher, so you can switch between. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what is the patcher?
So the patcher is essentially where you can create nodes. So
What's a node?
So it's this thing here, these little boxes that allow us to send from one thing to another really easily. So like if anyone's familiar with Reactor by Native Instruments, it's the same system as that, where you create what are called nodes.
A friend of mine has been using Quartz Composer. I think it's similar as well. You create these boxes and you connect them with wires, basically, right?
Yeah, it's like a modular synth,
right?
Basically, if you understand the concepts of modular synths, this sort of stuff's really easy.
And more on that later. Modular synths coming up on Midnight Operator.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
But yeah, so you've got this kind of.
So what did you add? You added note input.
I added a note input, yeah.
Okay.
And so at the moment, what we've got is a patcher, but we've got no way of actually getting the MIDI into Unity. So at the moment, it's not listening for MIDI. But if we go back over to our hierarchy, right-click, and then go to MIDI jack, we can input a MIDI source. And so this will allow us to get Unity to constantly prompt our USB interface and go, is there MIDI? Is there MIDI? What's the MIDI?
Right.
What's it giving me? So we can create that there.
If the operator does not have a OPZ, can this be used anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. So because it's just a kit that was created by Kjiro to attach MIDI devices to Unity, it works with any MIDI. So as long as you have, even virtual MIDI, something on your computer, as long as you can connect it, it's there. So in this case, I've got the OPZ, but if I plug in my, external keyboard, so let's say I've got an Arturia key step here. If I plug this in, it'll show up. So.
Chad has a question for you. David Lowe says, have you found any limits to what types of assets work?
I mean, it's tough to say because usually if they don't work, I just kind of stop there and don't go for it. But I think for the most part, pretty much anything works as long as it's 3D and compatible with Unity. Animations work, model rigs work, all of that sort of stuff plays really nicely. And if you can't get it to work, usually, as I said, loads of people use Unity, not just for this sort of stuff, but game makers. So just Google it, and there's tons of people that have asked the same questions.
Yep. Tony has a question. I want to make a toggle to slow down the video player by half. Can you show me a patch hookup for that?
Yeah, sure.
Do you know how that is?
Slow down the video player. So we'd want to create a note input, and then we want to get our output, and then we can get where is it? There's playable director and video player out. So if you're using a video player, you can just connect the note input, and then we can actually use what's called a float animation. And we'll get into this next week. Don't worry. It'll seem daunting now, but I'll explain what everything's doing next week. And then you can just put note on into play, and then that into speed, so float to speed. And then you can animate how you want the speed to speed up and slow down. So you can change that to maybe value of 1, and you want it to ramp down to a speed of maybe 0.1, so a tenth of the speed. And we can just adjust the curves, and then it will ramp down to that speed.
I think Tony got it.
Yeah?
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
That's all right.
Let's see if there's any else. We're also interested in purely 2D animations, but yeah, we'll go through the basics here first, and then we can.
And so essentially, what we've got here, I'll go back to the MIDI source because this is really useful. But you can see now that I've connected my Arturia key step,
yes.
It also
and
comes
okay,
up.
so that shows up in the inspector.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and you had an OPC, you connected the Arturia.
Yeah, so now there's both of them connected, and you can see both of them, and you can choose whichever one you want to control the scene. But I've got it on auto connect. So if you click auto connect, it'll automatically find something to connect to. So I'll just assign OPZ so that it's connecting to that, and I'll unplug my key step. So now you've got Unity, you've got it looking for MIDI, listening for it constantly, and you've got the clack patcher. And so what we can start to do is we can start to put in some assets and control them inside of Unity using the OPZ. So I think the kind of basic one that everyone seems to start off with is a cube that bounces up and down in size when you hit a key.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Which is it's an interesting one to start off with, and I think we could try and maybe make it more interesting with some additional patching. But we'll just start off with that and then see where we can go with it. So if you right-click in the hierarchy and create a cube, that will come into our hierarchy, and I'm just going to arrange it.
Hold on, you right-click, do that again, and then you go to 3D object, and then
cube.
Okay,
exactly.
Yep, and that's what you did. Then you got a cube here. That's nice.
So that's turned up in our scene there, and you can see what the camera's seeing. So we see that the camera is slightly elevated from the cube.
What's a camera here in Unity?
So the camera is this thing here, and we can select it from up here or in our scene viewer. But it's essentially, it's just showing a viewpoint from there, wherever the camera is set up. And so there's a few controls that we can play around with. At the moment, it's got a skybox as the view of the camera. So this kind of like gradient looking thing that's trying to emulate what a clear blue sky looks like. But we're going to change that because it looks a bit naff to solid color. And so now we just get a blue.
So you selected the camera and then you went into the inspector for that. And you, what was that? What was it? Clear flags?
So clear flags. And then we selected solid color rather than skybox.
Yes.
And now if we double click on where it says background, we can actually change the color. So maybe we can choose something more interesting, like I don't know. What color should I put?
Yeah, let's get a suggestion here from the chat. Let's see if there's any more questions. Oh yeah. How can you parch to change the cube color? Got that. What Funky Junk? Funky Junkie? What color do you want? Blorange. We got chartreuse.
Purple.
That's beautiful. Let's go with that one.
That one, and we'll make it slightly brighter because it's a bit dark. Okay, so now we've changed the background color, but we've still got this cube that's quite small, and so we can scale that up or we can move the camera. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera closer. So if we come up to this transform section, the way that Unity works is that you've got these different scripts that help you do different things. And so every object will have a transform. Every empty, every asset, whenever you import something into Unity, in the inspector, there will be a transform window. And so we're just going to move the position of it in the y-axis to 0. So it's dead center. And then we're going to move the camera closer. So we'll change -10 to -5. ep5 perhaps.
Fun
Yeah,
fact. You see the Z here, or the Z? This is what named the OPZ. This is the Z angle. That's what the Z stands for.
Oh,
So
I
even
didn't
in
actually know.
even in the name, it's, you know, we thought about this.
Yeah.
We're getting you from audio into the depths of video work and 3D stuff.
Awesome.
Yep, thank you.
So now we've changed the color, we've moved the camera closer, and we've changed where it's positioned slightly. So what I'm going to do now is, typically you'll want to arrange your hierarchy in a way that's not just all of your assets in a big long list. So we're going to do the same thing that we did in the project here in the hierarchy and create folders. And the way to do that in the hierarchy is to create what are called empties. So essentially an empty asset. So it'll have a transform, but no other components. So no cameras, no effects. It's just what it is, empty. And so we're going to name this first empty cameras. And then we can drag our main camera into it. And then collapse that. And then we're going to create another one called lights. And then drag our directional light into it. Collapse that. And then we can create a third one for 3D assets. And then drag our cube into it. And so we can actually put these into their own folders, but I like to have them out just because they're more accessible. And if I want to patch, I can just click it. If I want to change the MIDI source, it's there. But that's totally subjective. So now we've got everything in folders. So if we add more lights, if we add more cameras, more 3D assets, then it's not just splayed out in a big long list of words. So now what we're going to do is change the cube color. So maybe have it as, you know, green, blue. I don't know, chat, come up with a color.
Is it possible to randomize the color by pressing a key on the OPZ?
Yeah, so we'll look into that in a moment, but we need to create a material for the cube first. Because at the moment it's using a default material, so you can't really change much inside of that. You'll see that everything's kind of grayed out, and so you're not really able to access anything. So we first need to create a material for it. And to do that, we're going to right-click in our project view, and then create. And where we had our folders, we also have all of these other confusing sounding terms that I'm sure you'll get to know eventually. And inside of that is material. So if we just click there, it'll create this little circle and a new material. So you'll see that same page that we saw inside of the cube. We're just going to name that cube. And now we have a material that is named cube, but not actually assigned to anything. So we can drag and drop that onto our cube. And now when we click on the cube, you'll see in that where it said default material, it now says cube. And so we can change all of these controls from inside of the actual 3D assets view. And so again, like we did earlier, I'm going to create a folder, and inside of it, I'm going to hold the materials, and then drag and drop the cube.
And is this kind of the surfaces of the objects, or what is?
Yeah, so this is the surface color and materials that are being rendered onto whatever object you put the material onto. So for today, we're going to use the unlit shader. So Unity comes with all of these pre-built shaders and materials that you can use. And so you might see some of the familiar names like Quant come in from Videolab, and those are just shaders and materials that are used when you create one of those assets. And I'm sure if we write a guide, there'll be, you know, all of those things explained in there. But for now, we're just going to go unlit and then color, because we just want to have a solid blank color. And so now it's just plain white. There's no reflections. So if you look at the cube now, unlike before, it had some slight reflections. It's now just the plain solid white color. I'm going to change that to whatever color the chat decides.
Let's see. I mean, can we do whatever color now and then get a randomizer?
Yeah. So let's go perhaps what looks interesting on purple.
That
looks quite jarring.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Sick
nice
green.
teal. Yeah, exactly.
From the
exactly.
Rick and Morty pocket operator.
Okay, so now we've got a cube that's teal on a magenta background, and it's got no lighting, it's totally unlit, and it's just the color. So this is just putting in some assets and having them there set up how we want. So now this is a really great starting point for us to start to add some patches. So if you go back to that patcher, we can right click, create, and then put in a MIDI input. So if you recall from earlier, I added a note input to allow us to sequence that slowdown. But we can just create another one here. And then we now have this note input patch. And if we have a look at it, you can see that it says note on number, note on velocity, note off, and value. And so, as well as a channel input. And so this allows us to send all of this information. So whenever a note is turned on, it will send a value, which we will define here. Whenever there's a note on, it will send the number. Whenever there's a note on, it'll send the velocity, etc. Note off, it'll send a value, and value is whatever you define in here. But for now, we're just going to use the note on to allow us to, whenever the button is pressed, it will trigger something, because we don't need to have it unpress and untrigger something for the time being. So we've got our note input. We're going to define what channel and what note it plays under. So if you go channel, select 16, which is our video lab channel. So on the OPZ, you've got your 16 different, just get the cable out. You've got your 16 different tracks. And on the 16th track, you've got video lab. So set it to channel 16, or, whatever one you want to set it to. And then we can add a note filter, or we don't have to for the time being. I think perhaps for this example, I'll keep it to a note name, but you can also assign it to note number. So for the ranges between, note 36 and note 60, for example. And you can Google online, there's people who've created sheets of what each of the numbers are for each of the different notes. So you can just Google middle C, note number, MIDI, and then you can find it. But we're just going to put it to note name and set that to C. So now when we hit C on the OPZ in channel 16, so on the video lab track, it will activate this node. And currently it's not plugged into anything.
And if we set it on another channel, so like for instance channel 1, would that?
So yeah, because of the way that the OPZ is set up, each track has its own channel. So yeah, you can set it to whenever a kick is played, and if you actually turn off the note filter, so put that to off, now every time a kick drum is played, it will trigger this. And same goes for all of the channels. So let's say you want to have, the hi-hat making a sphere get bigger, the snare drum making, a 3D scan of your face get warped. You can do that with the different channels.
Yeah, so these are basically the tracks corresponding to the tracks on the OPZ.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think channel 16 is good for now, so we can go back to that with the motion track.
So channel 16, and of course you can also have it on all, but I think that gets quite messy, especially when you're sequencing things in the OPZ. And then we're going to put note name and just C.
Yes.
And it's already predefined our note off and our note on values, so we don't need to touch those. But if you wanted to set them to greater or smaller values, you can do that there, as well as in here, and you'll see that in a moment. So now we've got our note input node. That's all set up. You can rename it up here. So we can say cube movement notes, and then it'll be named cube movement notes inside of our patch folder that was created automatically. And so we've got our note input. We can now add some sort of filter and some sort of output that will allow us to control whatever we want to control. So in this case, we want to control the size of the cube. And so if we're going...
No, the color of the...
Oh, the color.
Material.
Sorry. Yeah, of course. There we go. So in that case, we go output. And then you'll see that there's all of these different folders and terms that you'll get more familiar with as you use the program. But of course, if we write a guide, those will all be explained inside of there. But for this one, we're just going to go generic and then color out. And so that will control the color of whatever component we have selected. So whatever asset. And so you'll see here that we've selected color out, and in the inspector, it brings up this little page. And so it's got a name, but it's not got a target. So it's currently not changing the color of anything. But of course, we want to change that. So if you either drag and drop the cube asset into the inspector, and it'll put it there, or you can press this little circle, and it'll bring up all of the different assets in your scene, or the assets in your project, and you can select which one you want it to affect. So now that's dragged and dropped into there. We're not going to want to change the color of the transform because that's not going to do anything. We're going to want to change the color of the mesh renderer. So, box collider, mesh filter, mesh renderer. There we go. That should do it. Let me just check that I've not used the completely wrong node. And so, oh, sorry, material color out's the one that we want. So renderer, material color out. Apologies. I've been doing lots of stuff with color outs at the moment. So,
And it's okay to make mistakes.
yeah, of course. So we're just going to select material color out. Bear with me a moment. And then we can just delete that with Control Delete or Command Delete. And that will just delete the wrong patch. And now we can just drag and drop the cube into our material color out. And then you can see there, it targets automatically the mesh renderer. So we don't have to state that. And then the property inside being the color. So now we've said that we have a node that defines our cube movement on, and a node that will send out the color that it needs to be changed to. And so now we need to get from this to that and get Unity to understand. We can't just patch 1 into the color because that's not a color, that's just a number, right? So we need to start to add some sort of filter that will let it understand what we want to do. And so if you come through into the create page, you've now got all of these possibilities that we can go to. And the one we're going to want to go to is conversion and then HSB color. So hue, saturation, brightness, color. If we click that, we get this nice little node where we can input a value for the hue, the saturation, the brightness, and the alpha. And so now we've got, again, something that gives us our notes and a value for those notes, something that will transfer those values into colors, because colors are vector. It's not just, it's not just hue, it's not just saturation, it's not just brightness, it's a combination of different things. And then we've got something that will then take that and input it into something and change the color of something. So we're just going to drag color and join color and color input. And what we can do now is we can select, perhaps we can see what happens if we just patch straight from Noton into hue. And you can see what happens. It's going to look weird, I'll tell you right now. But we'll build out a patch that randomly selects a color and then changes it. But for now, on Noton, it will change the hue to 1. So if you look in the cube movement notes, or the note input, if you haven't renamed it, down here, once we patch, it will say Noton event, and it will have a patch. And it will say, on Noton, it will change the value of the hue in the color component to 1. And so now if I run, and then go to my OPZ, select the Video Lab channel, and then hit middle C, it'll change the color to 1. And so now it's stuck there because we haven't actually assigned for it to go back when we let go of the note, or when we do whatever. And so at the moment, when you run it and you press middle C, it will change the color to red, which is okay, I guess, but we want something a bit more interesting than that. So what we can do is we can start to add some more interest to it.
Is it possible to do a random color with every key press?
Yeah, so there are ways of doing that, and I'm going to show you a few ways of doing it.
Or if it's too complex, then we might take it next time. But
it might be a bit complex for the first thing that you learn.
Right.
But I can show you how to do it if chat's up for it. So for the time being, what we're going to do is we're going to add what's called a float animation. So we saw this earlier. and it allows us to create an animation from one thing to another, so between multiple different values. And what we can do is we can play that animation, right? So that automation almost. If anyone's familiar with, environments such as Logic, you've got automation, and this is essentially creating an automation curve, right? So we can go from whatever our current value is for the hue. So if you go back to your cube, you can see my hue is set to 163. So if I copy that and make that our initial value over here, so click on the dot on the left. So this is our starting point. Right click it and then edit key. We can change the value, paste to 163, and then hit enter. And now you'll see that because of the scale of it, it's just gone way off and essentially created a straight line. And it'll correct for that once we close it and come back into it. And so now we're going from value 163 to value 1. And so the color will go from 163, so this teal color, to 1, which is basically red. And it will curve between those in a time space of 1 second. So if we right click here, we can edit what time it ends at. So perhaps we want it to be faster than that, and we can go 0.5. And now in half a second, it will go from teal to red. So let's have a look at what that looks like. If I attach the float to the hue. So float is essentially just a continuous value. And so we're attaching that continuous value to our hue. And then if we hit play and then play on middle C, you'll see there that it actually started the animation on startup. So play on start was selected there. We want to turn that off and then hit run. And now when we hit middle C, it'll shift between those colors. And you see there that it goes back to
Can you hold
back
up
to
your
red.
OPC when you do it?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see if I can
So-
get you. I don't know. Yeah. There we go.
So when I hit that, it changes the color.
Awesome.
It's a bit fast, but we can slow that down. We can either use the speed or we can go back into there. So I'm just going to use the speed and go maybe 0.25. So now it's a quarter as fast and it's going to take 2 seconds. So hit play. Remember that if you're already playing, anything that you do whilst playing will not be saved. So don't make any changes whilst running the Unity scripts.
Right. That's good.
Yeah,
Good tips.
because that one really did me over a few times when I was making some projects. It's useful for testing, but past that, don't do it. You'll just cause yourself harm. So it's a bit drastic at the moment. So I'm going to change this to maybe 100, so it's not too jarring, and make the time interval 1 second again. So now we can go back and test that and go hit C, and it'll change the colors. So it's still completely insane, but
There we
slightly
go.
less. And so now we've assigned a note to change a value using an animation. So automating that movement. And so if you recall, when I ran it and I pressed the note, it stayed on red because that was the final color. And actually, we don't want it to do that. We want it to return back to teal. So what we can do in the patcher is we can create essentially what is a note off toggle, or we can use the float animation to do that. But I'm just going to do it with the note off because it's simpler. And I'm just going to create another what's called a float filter, which is basically, if you think about it as assigning a value to a certain thing. You can use a float filter, or I think we can just patch it straight in. So if I go note off and then set the note off value to 163, now when we press play and we let go of the note, it will bring it back to 163, which it's currently not doing. So let's have a look at why it's doing that. So change that 163. Play. Okay, so just keep going, trying different things. It's all about trial and error. So oftentimes, when you're doing things, you just need to figure out what's happening and fix it. So at the moment, this isn't working for us. So we can put that through what's called a float filter, and that should allow us to do this. I go note off, input, and then output into the hue, and then drag that back. In the float filter, we can add what's called an amplitude. So it will take our input signal, our input value of, we'll say, note off value is 1. It'll take that, and then it will turn that into whatever value you want to come out of it. So you can multiply, you can add to it, all sorts of different stuff. But for now, I think adding 163 should do the trick. Let's try it. It might not work, but we'll see. Still not working. Okay. I'll try and figure out the script for it and show it to you guys in the next one, because I don't think at the moment this is absolutely necessary. But there are ways to get it working.
Well, we got the basic concepts.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think this is a wonderful introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
And so do you want to try automating some other stuff real quick? I can try getting the color to change on a snare drum, and we can get the maybe the scale to change when a kick drum hits.
I think I can figure that out actually, and I think we can leave that up to chat to figure out.
Yeah, for sure.
But also, I would maybe you are streaming already, William.
Yeah, I've been considering it. I mean, I don't know if the interest is out there and the audience is out there for me to do streams whilst I'm doing this sort of stuff. But if people are interested, yeah, I'll go for it.
I mean, because you could spend hours doing this, obviously, and we can really tell you're really passionate about it, and you are very, very knowledgeable. David Law says, yeah, Tobias giving us homework. People are definitely interested.
Yeah. So if people are interested, message me on Instagram, and if there's the demand for it, I'll for sure do some streams.
Well, there is. Which is your preferred platform, you think?
I think I might start off with Twitch, because that seems like an easy one to go for.
Sure.
But if people check my Instagram, I'll post about it and I'll try and get something going.
That's cool.
But should we tease that project?
Yeah, let's do that. So guys, this was a quick introduction, and I mean, for me, it's a bit daunting. I haven't spent all this time, but to have somebody really helping out like this is wonderful. And we're all about sharing. And I love how you've been sharing tips and tricks in the chat here. Thank you so much for that. This is what it's all about. So
so this is the project that we're going to create next week. There's a couple of components of it that are currently not supported in iOS, so they're going to be removed for that tutorial. But it's kind of like the basics of what we're going to be creating. So actually, I'll maximize it on play so you guys can see it properly.
Cool.
So it's these kind of moving shapes that if I turn up my ep5, you can hear it. Whenever I play a pattern, the kick moves the deformed sphere, and the snare moves the deformed cube. And so we can add various effects. This one's not actually going to be in the tutorial, unfortunately, but we can add pixelation. We can change the colors. We can add this kind of vintage-looking effect. We can add some bloom. We can start to add some rotation and reflection. And it's just kind of like a really simple, basic project.
Yes.
It looks quite nice. And
people are looking forward to this.
Yeah, I hope so.
So we'll create this, and we'll go through how to export it and import it in the OPC or in the app as well.
Exactly. But it's a super basic project. And we might even be able to adapt it into other stuff in the future as well, because it's super modular, and you can just add stuff to it. And next week we'll learn a lot of the stuff to make this, but just know that it's not limited to what's being created here. You can use your own 3D assets. So if you want to do that, maybe start creating them this week, and then we can work with them next week, and you can import them into your project and use those instead of the cube and sphere. But this was designed just with, Unity's built-in tools. So yeah, that's the project we're going to create next week.
Thank you so much, William.
That's all right.
Do you want to come back kind of full screen so we can have a closing chat here?
Yeah, let's do it.
There we go.
There we go. I think. There we go.
So show some love for William here. Sweet man, you're a warrior. Thanks a lot. So no, but seriously, I think if you have been thinking about streaming with this kind of content,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people would be interested. I've seen on Twitch, I've seen Deadmau5 create his live shows, and you know, basically just spending hours with his fans, just creating his, you know, visuals for his show.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's
Exactly.
super deep, super geeky, but this is what we love, and this is what will allow us to create our own tools for our own shows later. So
Yeah, exactly.
awesome.
And I think maybe next week we can even show off some of the projects that I've created for us to use with live shows for teenage.
Yeah, exactly.
Those might be
I
cool to
wanted
show off as
to
well.
maybe you have that somewhere.
Yeah, I sent you the
Oh, you did,
the
because
link through
I
Skype.
couldn't
Yeah,
find it.
yeah.
Over Slack?
Over Skype.
Over
Yeah.
Skype. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So
I sent
William
you
did
I've
a
got some-
video pack called Fluid, right?
Mhm.
That we have been using for our live shows a lot, or with excuse me, with what's our band called? I forgot.
I think it's like there's Operator Z,
Yeah,
there's the
exactly.
sound system, there's like so
Right.
many names for it.
And we played together at the Tom Dixon show. That was really fun. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
that was
a lot.
great.
Yeah.
The lights as well. Oh my God,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Have you talked to the lights guy? I forgot his name.
Ben. Yeah.
Ben. Yeah, he was sick, right? He wrote in the chat a few streams ago.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
No, yeah. Hope you're doing well, Ben. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so next week we expect you to be up to speed with Unity. No, but follow the basic steps here to get it installed if you're into it, and install Video Lab, and then make your own. What's it called? The workspace view or show?
The layouts, I think, is
Yeah,
the
cool.
official name. Yeah.
And then we can create that pack.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And I think next week's going to be a lot more involved with us checking chat and taking questions and doing all that sort of fun stuff. But if people get assets ready, so if they want to see a certain thing, like, you know, a 3D scan of their face be transformed, or, you know, whatever.
yeah, the basic stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it doesn't have to be too complicated.
That's really cool. Sorry?
I can share some resources with you as well for like 3D scanner apps for iPhone that are quite nice if people want to use those to get assets in and that sort of stuff. But
Yeah. Feel free to send us your questions, send us your requests. Like I announced before, I have an email, so midnightoperator@teenage.engineering. If you have anything special you want to talk with William about, or hit him up directly at Instagram.
Mm-hmm. And I can paste those into chat as well.
Yeah.
Here, I'll do those.
Cool. Thank you, William.
Yeah, anytime.
Talk to you again soon.
Yeah, exactly. Speak next week, I guess.
Yes.
But I'm sure we'll be in contact before that.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm gonna play around with some more video packs here before ending the stream. But it's been a pleasure.
Sure.
Always fun to talk with you.
Speak soon, Toby.
Take care. Have a good one.
Bye.
There we go. How about that? Yeah, love for William. He's incredible. Okay, so ending the stream. Gonna play some stuff here, and I'll just jam on the pattern that I got. Let's see. We can test another one. Let's see if we can get the. Is it maybe this? No, that was. See, I wanted to. Oh, the I one. Let's try that. That's funny. figuring out what kind of control I have over the video pack. Get the top view instead. Freak show, that's something for me. Hey Shashank, I haven't said hi to you, but welcome back to the stream. These are old patterns, I don't remember these. Let's see what's in here. Funky Junky Photomatic. Yeah, it would be cool if we could play GIFs through there, but currently it's not supported. Hopefully that would be possible. But with the GIF looper that's free, we now have a way to do that. Search radius. Yeah, send me the frequenz remix. Midnight Operator at teenage.engineering. Can showcase it. If you want to send me patterns that I can play on the stream, then please do. Dynamic energy. Let's go there. Enough freak show. Okay. I think we had that before. There we go. Look at this. I guess that's it, right? Thank you so much, guys, for joining. This has been Midnight Operator, episode 5. We've been talking with Brad, the designer, and we've been exploring some video packs. We've been getting some content from Tony Grisey. We've been talking with William, who's been showing the basics of how to get started with Unity and Video Lab. And join us tomorrow or next week for part 2, where we'll go even deeper into to creating your own video pack and jamming out. So this is Tobias signing off. See you again next time. Take care, guys. Been a pleasure. We come in peace. Yes, we do indeed. Oh yeah, did you open the OPC yet on the back or the battery cover? We do come in peace. Okay, this is me signing out. Let's go some.